welcome back to the Go-To Food Podcast, and today we're joined by one of our favourite chefs in the world and personalities, the wonderful Rosemary Shrager, a lady who feels like she's sort of a long-lost aunt to us all.
Absolutely.
We've loved her for all our years. She's a self-taught chef, cookery teacher, and author of, is it 8 cookbooks? Maybe more now.
Yes, 8
and 2 novels.
3 novels.
3?
Yes.
Jesus Christ, they just keep popping out, don't they?
Yes, they do.
And she's worked professionally under the likes of Pierre Koffmann at the internationally famous Toncle restaurant in London, and also for Jean-Christophe Novelli.
Yeah.
We'll get into all that.
Yeah.
But she's also known to some, maybe a slightly younger generation, as a TV star. Everything from I'm a Celeb to Marigold Hotel to her own shows on Netflix, ITV, MTV, Channel 5, and more.
Yeah,
Rosemary,
loads.
I mean, fucking hell, you're incredible.
In fact, there's a list of 3 pages, all the things I've done.
Really? Oh, my
On
God.
Google, yes.
It's amazing.
Crazy stuff,
Yeah.
but I can't actually remember half of
No.
them.
Well,
You know.
we were just saying we're terrified about you going out on a bike, but I'm
I am
also terrified
scared.
that you're one of the Ivy founding members. Is that right? You're off to the
not
Ivy
in
after
fact.
this?
No, they've asked me, the Ivy, a long time ago, the Ivy Club asked
Yeah.
me to become a sort of lifelong member now.
Wow.
So basically, you can go in and without paying
Yeah.
the fee. But it's worth paying the fees. I must say, in saying all this, it's great to become a member of the Ivy.
Yeah.
But I've been around long enough to actually, I think they offered it to me. So, and I go there for lunch a few times, not many times a year.
No.
So basically, I'm going there for lunch. So you better hurry up.
So you
get
didn't,
on with
you
it.
didn't abandon it when Richard Kerring came in then?
No.
Oh, God, no.
Of course not.
You're such a fabulous personality entertainer. We were just talking off air there about the need to entertain always and be a great character. Have you always been like that? At school, were you a naughty entertainer?
I was the clown.
Yeah.
Always the clown. And in fact, I would have loved to have been an actress, but also I love cooking. So I was cooking and acting all when I was a child. I used to put on plays at home, and I used to read things out. I used to make everybody sit down and listen to me. I'm a show-off.
Yeah.
So of course I love an audience. I absolutely adore an audience. So of course, and it's not an ego thing at all. It's just a loving performance.
Yeah.
Loving to do what I do on stage and loving to make people happy.
100%.
And I get a great joy from that,
Yeah.
And it's rather like when I do my cooking. I love it when people enjoy my food.
Yeah.
And in fact, there are a few chefs out there who actually don't mind. They just do what they do. For me, I like to know what they think of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really important to me. So it's what I'm all about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I just love doing it all. It's great fun. And I feel very privileged.
Well, you're a
to
legend. You are an absolute legend of the industry.
Oh, thank you.
Talking about another legend
Peter
of ours.
Andre called me a legend.
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, he calls me a legend.
But Ian Botham's another legend.
Yeah, he's a legend.
You're off on a cruise with him. What's going on there?
Well, no. Well, what we've done for the last 3 years, I don't know if you know, Beefy has a charity.
Yeah.
called the charity trust. Well,
He doesn't half bang on about it.
he does. He doesn't half bang on about it. Good way of putting it.
Yeah.
But every year we do 1 week a year, and we go to a country. Last year it was Venice, and whereupon, and then the year before that it was the Loire around there, and this time it's Bordeaux.
Oh.
So what we do is
nice.
he does the wine and I do the food demonstrations.
That's going to be incredible.
And I absolutely love it. So I'm going off for 1 week, but I'm getting really worried because it's getting so close to my bike ride.
Yeah.
And I'm getting very worried because, we're doing, I can't say a program that starts filming very soon.
Oh.
Well, I can say Cooking with Stars, but it
Yeah,
starts filming
Oh.
soon. So basically, I have to say that there's a lot of work always to do beforehand.
But there's no chance you go on holiday with Beefy and don't get pissed every night. I mean, I'm worried about you.
No.
You're going to fall off the wagon.
No, I'm not going to fall off the wagon.
Really?
No, I promise you.
We've got a
Freddie.
bowl of champagne for you. Are you
No,
sure we
I
can't
promise
make you
you,
fall
I'll
off?
take it, but I
Yeah.
won't fall off. No, actually, I call champagne not drinking.
Really?
It's not really, is
No,
it?
It's
doesn't
not
count.
drinking.
No,
No,
it
it doesn't count. Champagne doesn't count.
Well, would you like a glass?
No, thank you. No, I have to say that, it's actually, we have a lot of people who come and we earn money for his trust.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I'm pretty upset with him. I do this for him, but actually I've got my bicycle ride.
Yes.
He can't come on my bicycle ride. 'cause
Not
I
even
don't-
for a leg. I think Beefy could do a leg.
No,
couldn't
well,
he?
he said if he was coming, he'd come on his motorbike, but he's not coming on.
Well, that's
It's-
very beefy, isn't it?
Well, but he's so funny.
he
He's so
is.
funny. And the thing is that because it's all for food poverty, I'm doing demonstrations as I go along the coast.
Oh, wow.
The south coast. So I've got people like chefs on stage putting up theatres for me in wherever we're doing it. And I'm just going to be told. And I've been training. I had to learn to ride a bicycle, but it's the scariest thing in the whole world. It took me a long time, and I've literally been training for months. So but it is electric now because
Oh,
I
that's-
realised that I can't go up those hills, those heavy.
Well, next
That's
thing you're going to be a
crazy.
motorbike, like Beefy.
Rosemary, for fans of yours who might want to come along and see you on
Yes,
this, how do they
please.
find out the details?
Right,
Like,
it's
how do we
going
know
to-
where you're going to be?
It's going to be very soon. I'm announcing it.
Okay.
And we're going to go to Q Card, and it'll also have the route, so anybody can come and join me. You can come and do a
I'll definitely
podcast
come.
on.
We would love to do that.
we'll
You
do
can
that.
come. I have
Well-
bicycles ready for people who want
Oh.
to come.
Actually,
Yes.
We'll come
oh,
down.
we'll see you there.
Yes, I have bad.
Yeah.
And if I know you're coming, you can be collected.
Yeah. Oh, yes, please.
And then go on the bicycles, and then do a little come for about 4 hours
Yeah.
or
Yeah, yeah,
something. Depends on 3 hours.
Yeah,
Depends on. You can choose any day. So I will send you the schedule.
Please
please.
do, and we'll
then
be
you
there.
and you'll be there. What
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of fun.
Rosemary,
100%.
were you always obsessed with food? I mean, I know you grew up
I am
between Cape
obsessed.
Town, the countryside, and then
Yes.
latterly Regent's
Yes.
Park, London.
Yes.
But were you always obsessed with food?
Yes, always. When I was a child, food. I was a very, very fat child.
Right. Okay.
Me too.
And, but you were too, were you?
Well, look at the state of me, Rosemary.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, it has. You look great. No, but it was just I was brought up by a very strict mother, but she loved gardening. Of course, we had all our own lovely fruits and loganberries, so I knew cherry trees and big vegetable gardens. So I was either digging some potatoes up or eating peas that I'm mostly going to my mouth.
Yeah.
And then, doing all that. So I was grown up with lovely fresh produce. How lucky is that?
I know, amazing.
So also, and when I was in boarding school, which was not far away, my mother used to bring crates of cherries from our trees because we
Oh,
had a lot
lovely.
of trees. So crates to the school. So we used to love all that.
What was the
Would
boarding
you-
school food like?
Oh, it was disgusting. We went on strike,
Really?
Oh, yes, we went on strike because they didn't put butter in our bread.
What?
We were very upset. We thought, these girls, it's very funny.
Yeah.
We girls decided our parents paid so much money and they couldn't even bring us butter and bread. So we went on strike not to eat any of the food.
Hunger strike.
Yeah,
Hunger strike. No, we just
successfully?
didn't eat it. No, it was very unsuccessful because then we didn't eat the dinner in the evening, so we had to eat it for breakfast.
Oh.
I know, it was
Oh, so
disgusting.
they called your bluff.
They
basically.
called up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. And then, of course, there was another time where we decided to have a prank with the younger students, where we put X-Lax in the coffee, in the cocoa in the morning. So, of course, the whole school was going to. It was only a tiny school going to the loo in the afternoon. We loved it. We were very naughty. I was very naughty.
Were
and
you
I
the
used-
ringleader of all of that shenanigans?
Well,
or
I
it-
was not the ringleader, but I certainly was part of it in the
Yeah.
sense that we used to meet boys in the woods from the local village,
oh.
and I'll never forget my headmistress followed us one day because she didn't trust us. So of course,
Right,
said,
so.
Rose, Whirly, they used to call me Whirligig. Whirligig, say that, or Giggles, one or the other.
Yeah.
Whirligig or Giggles. They say they're your brother's friends. Go on. So Mare said, what do you think you're doing? So I said, well, they're my brother's friends coming to meet us in the woods. So he said, I do hope you don't have, doesn't have friends like that. Get back to school at once. And at that point, we went back to school and we were told we had to learn the 10 Commandments.
Oh.
Oh, yes. And then we had, as we were saying this, Colonel Ray, her husband, came down the sort of staircase, spiral staircase. Where's my fucking toy cane? So, of course, we were all
no.
absolutely hysterics. We walked out. We loved it.
Wow.
We loved it. It was
Brilliant.
a great moment to us. It was a great moment.
Mad.
Oh, we loved it.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
great. It's good fun.
It is.
Once the whole school disappeared, actually, it was great. We all just hid under the coaches going to church. We decided we didn't go to church. So we hid under the coaches. They didn't know where the school went. Only 90 pupils.
Okay, right.
Yours was a childhood of sort of boarding schools, nannies,
Yes.
a John Nash house in Regent's Park.
Yes.
Quite incredible. Gardens cascading down to the old canal.
Yes, that's
Um,
right.
And I read your mum was a great cook, and you loved.
She
to-
loved cooking. Yes, I mean, I would say she was very much after the war cook. I couldn't take all that fat and all that stuff we
No.
all had to eat, and why.
So what was it like? Like what food
Her
were you eating?
food was okay. Oh, we would, boiled hams, all the usual tripe and onions, all those sort of things, sweetbreads, all those sort of.
Yeah.
So it was very, what I call, it was very good food, and it was very sort of. Not so much it was cheap, it was what was sort of available there.
Yeah.
And, we used to eat chickens. We used to keep our own chickens and things like that too. So we chickens and all those sort of things. But Yep, it was interesting. So we did eat well. We ate very well actually, but it was just different type of food there.
Yeah.
And I don't think one should knock it because it was very. Yeah, it was just different. It was different to what it is today. But I actually did a dish the other day. They were doing classics of childhood classics.
Yeah.
It was with Prue Leith and all this, a whole load of other celebs, chefs. And I actually brought up one of my old classics from my mother was actually cod,
Yeah.
tomatoes and banana. And do you know something? Baked in the oven. Do you know something? I always absolutely thought it was delicious.
Yeah.
Brilliant. It
So what-
works. I mean, who thought of banana putting it with cod or whatever?
And
or
you
had-
and baked in the oven.
you bake
So
it in
what
the
happens to the banana? Does it cook into the sauce, or is
oven.
it?
Well, it goes sort of soft,
Yeah.
and I think we cooked the fish longer than we should have done. That
Yeah,
is,
right.
my mother would have done. Yes, cooking was quite long, so I remember as a child thinking, this is not as probably what it should be.
good as it could be?
I was quite aware of how things should be cooked, and I didn't know. I had no idea. It's like when I used to make scones,
Yeah.
and I always used to put them into the local fair, and of course I used to win, but I didn't know why I used to win from all the old ladies. Used to get very upset, and the reason why, because I made it with rancid milk, and of course rancid butter or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't realise that's the way to do it.
That's
to make
the trick.
best.
That's the
That's the
trick,
trick.
yeah.
Yes. Well, it's not so much as sour. It's all. Sour.
Yeah, the sort of.
So basically, that's what it's all about.
And that's just instinctive for you. It's
Well, it
almost like
wasn't. It's what was available. at the
Right,
time.
okay.
So it's what was there. So you use what was there, and what I loved about that time. So you made your own cream and all your own stuff. What I love actually, and your own jams and things. Today I sort of like to bring all that back.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it's cheaper. Also, you only make these things when it's seasonal, because when you have an abundance of stuff, and that's what I think is so important.
yeah,
And, one must never patronize the young or anybody in that case, because when you don't know where things come from or what they are, that is when they're being grown, because they don't. Children don't know. Sometimes adults don't know. It's where they come from, what they do. Because when you go to a supermarket, if you're going to have strawberries in the middle of winter, you are very confused.
yeah.
So basically, because we don't do, we have stuff from all over the world, which is, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but they don't taste as good.
No, they don't.
So basically, what you're doing is you're confusing people, and you don't know what's in season
Yeah.
and what isn't in season.
Well, we had the great Sally Clark on.
Yeah, so
few
that's
weeks ago.
interesting. Yeah,
And
she's
she was saying
great.
when she first opened her restaurant, because I was saying to her, produce must be amazing now. You can get, the most wonderful stuff.
Well,
She said no.
No.
When I first opened, I used to have men and women coming to the restaurant, like you've just described, with boxes of rhubarb or quinces
Yes.
or cob nuts.
Yes, exactly.
And that's disappeared. People aren't, and so it is that connection has gone, right?
But you do have to go out and find it. Now, what I do is, for instance, you've got the first now, wild garlic is
Yeah.
in. And I used it. I was doing a little collaboration with Mark Kempson the other day.
Yeah.
And he's a Michelin-starred restaurant. I did pies. We did a lunch pie, and we did an evening pâtissier.
Yeah.
And basically with quail. So it was really, really nice. But we did it with wild garlic, because you're going to use what's in season.
Yeah.
So basically, because game's gone out, so you use a bit of quail, which is fine all the year round.
Yeah.
So I do feel that for me, seasonal food and educating the young in seasonal food is incredibly important, because I have a theory. My theory is that home economics went out of the schools unless they choose to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, some schools do it, but it's only through choice of theirs. I think it should be part of the curriculum in a very simple way. I think they should get rid of theoretical stuff, because the children don't want to know all about that. You learn by looking to see what is healthy and how you cook it.
Yeah.
And that's all they want to know. Now, if they had that, it would be a completely different thing.
Yeah, it would.
I think just cooking what is seasonal, what is out there, keeping it incredibly simple, and knowing what it's all about. The duck breasts don't come in a packet.
Yeah.
But actually, they're proper duck.
Yeah.
No,
Then they're not going to.
Or that even duck
bone
breasts
them.
exist. That
Well,
ducks, like
exactly.
kind of giving that.
Exactly. I mean, that's an extravagant
Yeah.
product.
No, but if you go into a supermarket,
ingredient.
there tends to be just 4 types of meat, right?
Well, exactly.
And most people shop in
chicken,
supermarkets.
yeah.
Chicken,
Yeah,
beef,
chicken's
pork, and
the-
lamb.
Obviously,
Like,
that's the best. But chicken, what is interesting also is to know which chicken to get. So first of all, I have this theory that I think I love Jamie. I love all that lot
Yeah.
and Whittingstall and things like this. I love them all. They're all great people. But when they did that, what I call free range chicken,
Yeah.
and it actually patronized people that they couldn't afford a free range chicken, because if you've got children, 4 children,
Yeah.
say, or 3 children, you're not going to buy a 10-12 pound chicken
Yeah.
that's free range. Forget it, organic. You're going to go for the cheapest products, which you feel is still healthy, it's still protein, it's still there, and you're going to get it. But actually, I think what is very important is that people can't. They need to learn why, but then if they haven't got the money, they can't do it. And I tell you, more and more people now are just not being able to afford it anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got the red tractor stuff, you've got all that, but, you know, they're going to throw for money. I mean,
Definitely.
it's all about cost. And today, it's a hard time. And just because people don't have it, you cannot patronize them, because as long as it's meat, that's all that matters.
And produce, so buying
And
that
produce.
rather than a processed, you know, and already.
Exactly. It's
So,
better.
yeah.
It's better. They fill all sorts of things. Now, the only thing they do need to know is what they do with the chickens. They pump them, with the pork or whatever. They do pump them. So as long as they have the knowledge of actually how it is produced in terms of shelf life, and that's in terms of weight.
Yeah.
It's rather like when they do meat in supermarkets. What they do, they weigh with the blood. They actually do it with the blood in the bag.
Yeah.
So you're having the blood in the
Slightly
bag.
misleading.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have all that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that sort of goes with the weight. So it's quite interesting.
It's really interesting.
Fascinating.
I want to return to your award-winning scones. You learned them from sort of, you know, being alongside your mother, but it wasn't an easy relationship. If we can just get into that for a bit, your
Yeah,
mum.
I had a bad relationship.
Can you
with my
share with
mother.
it, because it was quite terrifying. Some of the things she did to you.
Yeah. She was very strict, and it wasn't me. We all had the problem. I don't want to go into complete discussions about it, because I had a very unhappy childhood. My mother had very lack of confidence. I think she was slightly on the spectrum, but I don't know. She always had to be praised. So she always wanted another child, so she'd adopt a child or maybe 2 children, you know. She still had 3 children.
Yeah.
And in fact, I wanted to leave her at 10 years old, which I did. So, because I couldn't stand it, you know, all this idyllic thing about food. And actually food, funnily enough, was the one thing I had, which was really interesting. Although I didn't have to do the cooking, she did all the cooking, but food was my knowledge as a child. But I was always a funny beast, really. But she was very strict. I mean, really strict, and she couldn't cope. And if you can understand, when somebody is like that, and I've only learnt since, as I've got older in my adult age, that actually sometimes life is, they can't help what they do. And if she was like she was when she was younger, she would have been seen by someone and helped.
Right, yeah.
And of course, it caused no end of trouble to all us children. We all ended up in trouble in some way. We were put away into hospitals.
Well, she had you sectioned, right?
Oh yeah, she had me sectioned, and she had my sister sectioned.
But why?
Well, tell you what happened. I actually, at that age, I think I was about 15, and my mother said it will look after the young sister.
Yeah.
And I did. And but I was so angry because she was asking me to do something, and she was always asking us to do things for her. And if we did something, we'd get something back in return.
Right.
Nothing was unconditional. And so basically, how can I put it? Okay, I took some pills.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they were pet pills. So of course, I didn't mean to do anything. I wasn't trying to commit suicide in any shape or form, but I was depressed.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be noticed. I really wanted
It's
to
a
be
cry
noticed.
for help. Yeah.
It was a cry for help. Now, because I did that, I'll never forget. The next day, she'd obviously been to the doctors and said, Rosemary took some pills. And I'll never forget, I was actually in the hospital at night. They'd actually got me out. And it was quite a thing that all I could think of, I want to go to Italy with the school. I want to do this. So she would say, yes, yes, yes. And I thought, I've got my own way now. Thank you for that. But it didn't work.
Didn't work.
The next day, I had 2 men coming to our house in Regent's Park and taking me away. And it's simple as that.
Well, men in white coats.
No, they weren't in white coats. They were in suits, but they took me. No, they weren't.
No.
They took me away,
Christ.
and they put me away. And I never wanted to see my mother. No way did I want to see my mother. And they weren't. My mother was not allowed to come and see me. And my mother had told all my friends they weren't allowed to come and see me either. So I only learnt this later on in life, that my friends were told they couldn't come and see me. I mean, she was not right. But it can I just say, and of course in the end, there was nothing wrong with me. I was a child. I was adolescent.
Of course.
I was adolescence, and she couldn't cope with adolescence.
Yeah.
My sister did the same thing.
Yeah.
So of course, in a different way. And she, it was terrible.
Were you the eldest?
No, I was the third.
Okay.
But basically, I was the clown. So that was the only way I could get through my life, is by laughing at things, laughing at myself.
Yeah.
So it was quite, without going into detail, I know I've sort of covered it all up, and after 3 months in the hospital, I said, I want to go home. They said, Rosemary, we've been waiting for you to say that since you came in. It's my mother. So my mother, and since then, I've seen my records, and it's all about my mother, not about me.
That's
Really?
Yeah, which was really interesting.
That's really
I was actually a bit shocked. I said, I said, what's this all about? They said, well, I'm afraid they couldn't do anything with your mother. It's as simple as that. So in those days, it was really difficult. Now, I was probably a very difficult child. I was.
Yeah.
Because
well, we all are, though, aren't we?
Yeah, but I wanted attention. So she couldn't cope. So what I'm trying to say to you, and I would like to get this across, is that she was not well. She wasn't right. She couldn't cope with parties. She couldn't cope with people. She could only cope with a one-to-one situation. It was very strange. She never went out to lunch with girlfriends. Of course, you always go out to lunch with girlfriends. Never meet people, never do anything. And you could see now, and I've got a lovely cousin who's actually in that sort of way, and she said she was really classic of that.
Yeah.
And that's why she had a problem with us children.
Yeah.
And my brother had it, my sister had it, and we all will put away,
Well,
I mean, it was just terrible.
Rosemary, I'm terribly sorry. But
No,
can
don't
we
worry.
offer you a cup of tea?
No, it's fine.
No, as in, like,
genuinely.
Ben, you bought tea for us, right?
Well,
Did you bring tea in a flask?
I
Yes.
bought tea in a flask. I've also bought a
Has it got
bottle of
milk in it?
No, it's black.
Okay, fine.
But I brought milk.
Yes, and you said let's see with your bag down there. Show me your bag.
Well, Ben,
Well,
you
I've
bought some
unpacked
treats
it
as well.
all.
Come
Yeah,
on,
I'm gonna
just
get it
bring
all
out the
out.
Come on,
treats.
let's go.
Would
You
you,
bring
would
up-
you have a cup of tea with me?
Yeah, I'll go.
Or would you like a glass of champagne?
No, I mustn't drink. No.
Okay,
just
ready?
you don't put me off the wagon.
I'll have a tea.
You sure?
Yeah, we'll save the champagne.
Okay, and you have yours black or with milk?
I'll have a bit of milk, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, a tiny bit of milk.
Rosemary, after school, you go off, like actually many chefs we've spoken to, not to study cooking, but to study art.
I did.
Northwood School of Art and Design, and then the Hebrides School of Fine Art.
That's right.
But, you were obviously always obsessed with food at the time.
I was.
I read that you were designing the layouts for the Miller Howe Hotel. Did you ever get to meet the great John Tovey? I mean, he was
Well,
one of the great celebrity chefs of the 70s.
That is why I went into cooking. Right,
Really?
I'll tell you what happened. I was working at the Jack Kinnear Architects. I love all this. Look, listeners, you've got to see.
Yeah.
We're having little napkins as well. We've got a knife. Oh, have you got scones as well?
I've got scones, little Easter biscuits.
You are
Oh.
joking. No, we've got everything. Gosh, if you could see this, like
Oh
little
my
tea
God.
party.
Oh, this is incredible.
Yes. So anyway, so what we're doing is we are. What was I saying? Hang on.
John Tovey.
John Tovey. Yes, I was a lowly technician, and I was doing the loos and the layout of the loos, and I think it was the reception, the foyer, in his Miller Howe, restaurant in the Windermere. So I did all that. Oh, look at this! You have to say, oh my giddy aunt, that's so nice.
Wonderful.
Oh, I love it. I'm so.
Black Keemon, I hope that's all right.
Oh, I love it.
Chinese tea.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
lovely.
love China. I love it. I love Chinese tea. Now, so basically, I said to the boss, Jack Neer, his name is Jack Neer.
Yeah.
I said to Jack Neer, I said, please, can I meet John Tovey? Because I used to cook all the time. I used to cook all night sometimes, literally all night. And I was the Julia and Julia, before Julia and Julia came out from Mastering the Art of French Cookery.
Really?
And I used to go through the books. I went through 3, no joking, Mastering the Art of French Cookery books.
Wow.
So,
Must have been a master after that.
well, no, you don't start that. You just do. And if I couldn't do something, I'd just phone Claridge's or the Dorchester and actually.
Well, I did read about this.
Yes.
Because this is pre the days of photos and cooking.
Yes.
So you had to call them up. So you just sort of asked for a
I
direct
just
line to the
want
chef.
Yes, I did. Always head chef. And I said, "What do I do next?" They always said, "Start again." So But the thing was, strawberry jam. I should have bought some of my own strawberry jam.
You should have done.
I know. Oh, cream as well. Oh, I'm sorry. You've gone to so much trouble. I am going to have a scone with lashings of cream and jam. But can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Do you do the cream on the top or the cream on the bottom?
I do the cream on the top.
Yes.
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 Jam first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, the reason why, because you put so big blob.
Yes.
And anyway, that's in Cornwall and the other
Yeah,
one's
yeah.
in Devon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Did we get to meet John Tovey, Rosemary?
No, so, okay, to answer your question, because we do get waylaid.
Yeah, we like to do that. Though.
So basically, no, I didn't. I was furious because all I was doing was the layouts. So, of course, I did those layouts and I was just very angry. So I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go into cooking. So I resigned. And, oh my gosh, 2 plates of biscuits. I can't. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I will finish the conversation. You've got.
Oh my
no.
God.
Did you make those?
I did.
You did.
I'm not 100% happy with them, Rosemary. I'll be honest with you.
Why
And
not?
no, well, I made them last night. But please.
But they're light.
They're
They're
light
not
enough.
stodgy.
No, they're pretty good.
Okay. Not very big, are they?
I know. See, I knew you'd get amongst it.
They look
Yeah.
good though.
That was my
But
fear.
they look good. That's a nice one. Look.
Yeah, a couple.
Let's see if it opens at the right
Don't.
place.
It won't.
Yes. No. Look.
Oh, we're all right.
Yes, you've opened it at the right place. I don't think all of them will open at the right
Just
place.
stick with the one you've got.
Yeah, I will. I'll stick with the one I've got.
My bloody heart went when you
there it
started
is.
tearing that apart.
Yeah. Well, there is a form and a way to do it.
These look incredible.
That
Aren't
was all right though.
That was perfect.
Okay, we're in. Good. You
Let's see what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, don't.
Okay, everybody, just have a
be
little
nice.
bit of a break.
just
I'm
be
gonna-
nice.
they? Yeah.
I'm always nice.
Lovely cup of tea.
It's a very good
always
cup of tea,
nice.
isn't it?
Wonderful crockery again.
Thanks, Ray. I've
I
gone
mean-
for Denby today.
Oh, Denby's good. Very, very old-fashioned.
Yeah, I thought that.
But I love that. Are you calling me old-fashioned?
No,
You better not. Because
this is what day to day. My wife and I.
this is what good.
Daily
good.
Denby.
Because if you call me old-fashioned,
You'd be out of it.
yeah, I would do you.
Storming
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
be like,
Stop me out with the scone.
Because actually, it's now fashionable.
it is now exactly a full circle.
I'm going to offer
That's
the
how
engineer
you
a
do it.
biscuit.
You
then.
can take a picture of that. Look,
Oh look, yeah,
Wonderful, Jamie.
that's how you do it.
Freddie, you getting this?
Look. This. Look.
That's proper.
That's how you
Is
do
that
it.
enough cream?
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you. Can I pass you this, please? I believe you were going to.
Wow, that is beautiful.
See, isn't that great?
Yeah, it's lovely.
That,
Looks great.
Are you
Do we-
going to have one?
Yeah,
Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. Should we do the taste test?
Yes, do the taste test. Come on, have one.
Come on,
Yeah.
Freddie.
Well, Rosemary, why don't you give us the taste test?
All right, come on.
That. Hold on, Rosemary. That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
rip
Thank you.
that one in half, Freddie.
Okay.
Thank you. There we go. Perfect.
But just be kind.
That was so
Are
good.
we all right?
Can I tell you why?
Go on.
It's the cream and the jam.
I knew you. I can
No.
tell you have me in your sights.
No, do you know what? Do you know what? That is delicious. It's actually very light.
It is
Yeah.
very light.
It's
a good
very.
recipe, this.
This is a very
Whose
good
recipe is it? Rosemary's?
Is it mine?
It is Rosemary's recipe.
Oh, you're joking.
That's why it's so good.
I'm not.
Is it?
I'm not an
Yeah.
idiot, but it's made by me, so it's been slightly ruined.
Oh my gosh! Excuse me.
That is a great recipe.
Perfect.
But if you'd had them last night, because I had to leave early this morning,
Okay.
so I made them last night. They were at their best. Obviously, I tried my best this morning, but you're being very sweet about
Is
it.
it really my recipe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
that's all your recipes. Although actually, that one, the sort of Easter biscuit, I slightly cocked up your recipe. I wanted to make your oat biscuits,
Oh,
No,
but
they're
then
good.
I was on a phone call with a woman who was telling me about Easter biscuits.
oh.
So at the last minute, I switched to those.
And she gave you the recipe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Never trust a woman you meet on the phone. That's what I'll tell you.
Rosemary, you did then go into cooking. You started doing
Well,
the director's lunches.
What
right?
I did was director's lunches, and I
So-
went
so
worked
what-
for N&M.
What does a director's lunch
Oh,
like? What were you cooking for that?
Oh, it was ghastly. Right. First of all, I realised
Delicious, man.
it is
Thanks,
delicious.
Freddie. You're very sweet.
Really, really light.
Great recipe.
Yeah, probably I could take down the salt a little bit.
Oh. I'm heavy-handed. I'm heavy-handed.
No, it's my recipe, so I take full responsibility.
No, but you
I
weren't
think
there.
Ben took creative license.
You weren't holding my hand.
So, no, it's delicious, actually. No, what I was going to say to you was...
Yeah.
Director's
lunches.
I felt I'm no good at serving, as you can see. I'm no good at actually being in the kitchen and serving and laying a table. I'm sorry, it's just ridiculous. So basically, I did it once, and I swore I'd never do it again. So I said I need to be behind the green baize door.
Yeah.
So basically, I insisted on every job had a butler. Yeah, of course. I wasn't going to serve. No way. So I did. So they did.
But before that, is that so? If you were doing direct lunches, you'd cook the food, then you'd bring it out and serve them, and clear it all up.
Hated it.
No, nuisance.
I wouldn't do that.
What were you cooking for them?
Oh, they love fish. They love all those sort of things, sort of meat, steak, all the usual bits.
Yeah.
Good puddings, Sometimes they like sort of what I call comfort puddings, bread and butter pudding and all those sort of things, normal things.
Any disasters?
Well, I'll tell you about a disaster, which was quite interesting. I was doing a 40th birthday party once, and I'll never forget. And it was actually the very first time I'd ever done outside catering for someone and taken it. And I was doing, I can't remember what I did, but I had French beans as a vegetable, the fine ones.
Yeah.
And when I did it, I went into the dining room and I was serving them because this was a private do. So I said, okay, I'll sort of bring it out and they can be served. Sort of, butler service or whatever. Anyway, so I did all that. I saw my physiotherapist there in the crowd. And I thought, she didn't even acknowledge me. I was so shocked. I dropped the beans all over the floor.
Not all over her.
Not all over her. I dropped them all. So do you know what the actual birthday boy did? He came, got a dustpan and brush, did it up, go and put them underwater and serve them again.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
That's brilliant.
It was a nightmare. The other disaster was I had a chef. That was when I was about 28 or something.
Yeah.
But the other disaster when I had it was a dessert. It was an apple galette, and my chef had put on salt instead of sugar to glaze, and of course I had no idea. So of course, my whole
It was served.
Did it go out?
yes.
Oh, Christ.
No.
Oh, it was.
Were people
awful.
polite or not?
Oh, well, it was a disaster. I mean, what do you do? No, they weren't.
No.
What do you do in that situation?
What a nightmare.
And there was one other time too that they put instead of paprika. This was a long time ago. This was actually when I was in the Hebrides, and they took a long. They had I put soup de poisson. I used to do a lot of that, and we used to do paprika and all the different things. Yeah. And instead of paprika, they put chili. Now, the amount is they couldn't eat it. I mean, it was all chili. Jeez. I mean, it's nothing I could do to even change it.
No.
I couldn't even scrape anything off.
No.
That was it. So, yeah, we all have disasters. But they got it wrong because they thought it was whatever, and weren't thinking. Yeah. I mean, these things happen, but I must say that it's only happened. It's only happened about 3 times, and but these things happen. As simple as that. Or if suddenly if it's service, you have to, and it's not quite right, you just have to get it right and get it out or whatever. But every chef will tell you there's something that goes wrong sometime in their life.
You eventually headed down to Cornwall, where you started working with the iconic Jean-Christophe Novelli.
I did.
I mean, how did that come about, and how tough was that sort of working?
Oh my giddy aunt, that was so tough.
Yeah.
That was so tough because he was such a hard taskmaster, even harder than almost Pierre Koffmann. I mean, he was tough. Pierre Koffmann was tough.
Yeah, very tough. Yeah.
He was tough. Yeah. I've seen people sacked during service and all this stuff with him. But he had to be, because every dish was like, next one going out, 3 Michelin star.
Yeah.
But JC he'd just come from Chewton Glen at the time.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And he actually, he was young, ambitious, and he was really tough. So we did fall out. No, thank you. We did fall out a couple of times, and to say the least, I gave it my best. But we always stayed friends.
Yeah, nice.
And he's now a very close friend, and he calls me. I'm like his auntie.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which is quite funny.
How did you how did that change happen? How did you end up going to work with him?
I was going to work for someone else, and I put myself out there when I went to Cornwall, and I had some friends that owned the Nan Sidwell Hotel,
Right.
and they just employed, and it's closed now, but they just they employed Jean-Christophe. They said, "Please, will you come, please?" And he was needing a patisserie chef at that particular time. Although I wasn't a patisserie, I could do patisserie.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what I did.
Wow.
And I joined, so I was there for a while. Which
But you
I
were
loved.
self-taught, so you're going into a professional restaurant, but
It was
off
very
instinct and
it was very
experience.
difficult. But I'd also, don't forget, worked in other kitchens and
Yeah.
things like this, in pubs, gourmet pubs, and things like this. But it was, every single kitchen was a learning curve for me, and that's why I'm so passionate about apprenticeships. Apprenticeships. You see, I put myself through an apprenticeship, so it was really important because I felt that I needed to get as much experience. So I used to draw after, service or after everything we'd done in the evening. I used to draw pictures of everything we'd done, do what's there, what's being done, how it was done.
Wow.
It was the only way I could do it. So but the one thing I missed, and I got through it, I didn't have what I call a hero that I could ring up. And that's why I rang Claridge's and Dorchester, because they were the people I could sort of get hold of. So basically, it was me trying to put myself through this apprenticeship. And it took a long time. It took years and years and years. But actually, it was the only way I could do it. It was the only way. So if I wanted to learn, for instance, how to make a proper pasty, I'd go to the Lizard, to Anne's Pasty in the Lizard. So I'd take myself off there for a couple of days and learn how to make pasty. And if I wanted to do butchery, I'd go and do stringing. I'd go to a butcher. And in fact, I went to a butcher for a week and learned how to do, butchery, or not all butchery, it was more stringing, how to do these cuts and things. Fish, same thing. It was all trying to put myself
put it together
through,
for yourself.
but I fast-tracked myself.
Yeah.
So I took it very, very seriously.
When you were working for Jean-Christophe, you then leave, and then did you set up your own sort of restaurant from home sort of thing in Cornwall? What was that?
Yeah, what happened? No. Oh, yes, I did. Oh, where have you got all this? This is really good research. Yeah. I did. I actually set up a lovely, lovely restaurant, and we were open for a year. We were actually tipped as one of the best country house restaurants, of course we had to leave because my husband, went under. Well, so it was all very tough. So that's when I packed up. And that's when I left with a suitcase to London, literally on a train. I had no money. I had absolutely nothing. I even tried to go to Social Security to get some money from my because the banks closed us to feed my dogs and cats.
Christ!
They laughed me out of the Social Security. It was very funny.
Yeah. So this happened overnight, as in
It was overnight.
Your husband.
It was
right?
It was literally overnight. Everything was gone.
Was it the Lloyds? What happened?
No, it was it was the not Lloyds. It was actually the recession.
Right.
And we put so much in. I'd guaranteed him. We'd all got all sorts of things. Right. So it was a nightmare.
So you lost everything overnight.
Okay. I lost all my land. I lost
having
everything.
bought your first house from Hebrides. I mean, this
yes, we did actually. Yes.
Yeah.
We did on a Saturday morning. Bought our first house from Hebrides. Yeah. Yehudi Menuhin was actually living there at the time, but in Highgate. But the thing was that I found myself in a situation where, I could go under, or I could ride through this.
Yeah.
Now, I thought the only way I could ride through this awful situation, because at this point, was I was going to have to go to London. So I said to my husband, I said, look, I'm going to go to London, and I'm going to have to get on. I have to go, because if I stay here, it's going to be a disaster. There's nothing here for us at the moment. So I phoned some friends who happened to have some houses and spare rooms in South London, Cadogan Square and all that stuff, and South London. And so I was able to, in the end, go to, I was able to go to London. And I was staying actually with good friends in Highgate for a while. For, in fact, 3 years I stayed there. But while I was doing stuff, and then I wrote to Pierre Koffmann because I loved Pierre Koffmann. I did a recipe called Auntie's Quail, and Auntie's Quail over the phone. I phoned Pierre Koffmann up and I said, will you help me do this recipe? Because I'm doing it in my restaurant, but I'm obviously sweetbreads. People aren't going to come down here. I don't think they'll eat sweetbreads. So I said, so we came up with Auntie's Quail, or I called it Auntie's Quail in my book, my first book. And then he said, well, if you come to London, come and see me, as a guest. So basically, I then, having gone to London, I literally have a dream. This is true. I have a dream. And I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was doing everything I could to just do odd jobs and so on and so forth. And they said, write to Pierre Koffmann. So I did.
Hold on, in your dream?
In my dream, it said, write to Pierre Koffmann. So I got up the next day, I wrote to Pierre Koffmann, and I said, of course, it was going to be a 3-star restaurant, come on. So he said to me, 24 hours later, I get invite to go and see him. I go with my whites and my knives, and I meet him, this hero of mine, and he said, I don't tell him he'd already spoken to me.
Yeah.
And so he said, will you, let's see what you can do. So for a week, I worked in patisserie for a week, and he'd gone around the whole brigade, free of charge. I'd worked there, and he said, I'll tell you on Friday if I give you a job or not.
Yeah.
And he came round to me on Friday, he said, they all like you, and you'll be great as part of the brigade. So he said, I'm offering you a job. He said, I don't pay you very much, but he said, it's for you.
Yeah.
So I did tell him a little bit about my circumstances. I thought I had to, in a way. I know it didn't have to, but
you were sleeping on the floor when you first arrived in London, I read.
Yeah, I was sleeping. Well, it wasn't exactly on the floor. No, I was staying. When I was in Highgate, I was fine. But then there were other ones I was on the floor for a while. But so I go there, and he offers me the job, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I had this job.
Yeah.
And I said to him, and after I'd been there for quite a while, I said to him, do you remember having a conversation with a lady in Cornwall about some quails? She's a Zui. It is lovely. He's got such a twinkle in his eye because he's my hero.
Yeah.
He basically said to me, I said, well, that was me. You did ask me to come, and I had been here for all this time. So it was just a really funny little story. So when I had my first book, Castle Cook, he did the premise for me.
Yeah, that's nice.
And which is really nice. And he was a super guy, and we're good, we're really good friends. And I love his wife, Claire, and I still call him chef.
What was it like working in Le Temps Clair, though?
Oh,
like
it was
the
tough.
dishes.
It was very tough because you had to perform. I mean, this is where I had so much respect for him because he was a tough taskmaster. But if you didn't, I think I had one day off ever there, and if you didn't perform, you just left because it was his reputation going out there with his 3 stars, and I think he was the longest at that time, the longest running Michelin starred in the country at that time. So it was a massive risk for him, but he was happy. And but I learnt so much. I mean, he was unbelievable. And then that went on, and basically did that and got very tired, and that's it. So left. And then I was invited. I changed my jobs, and I was invited to go and work for Ivor Mountbatten, part of the royal family.
Oh, bloody hell.
So I knew a maitre d' in Berkeley Square at I've forgotten the name of the club actually, Berkeley Club, I think maybe it's Berkeley Club. Anyway, where he was having lunch, he said, do you happen to know of a chef? And I was wanting to leave, I was left anyway. And he basically said, yeah, I think I know somebody who'd be like to do that. And so I went and met him and got the job. Because they'd been hiring Marco Pierre White at the time, and they needed somebody of fine dining because their estate, they had a large Moynes Park, a big estate. Not that I would do the 2,000 people in the park. No. I would do the cooking for not for the family, for the events, the corporate events and the weddings and all the different.
So
things
who did you do?
came.
The Queen? You must have done.
I did some of the royal family. Yes, who was to come for dinner, not the Queen. No, and I did. they used to come up with all their security guard. But I actually had a great time, and Ivor came to my party the other day. He's a good friend, and he's so lovely, and he's very nice. And it's just, I said, this is my old boss. This is my old boss.
Rosemary, just going back to the Tonkleur, because obviously back then there weren't that many females in the kitchen.
No, that was the problem.
Let alone in a 3 Michelin star
That's the problem.
place. We hear that Pierre's got a bit of a temper on him from all the people we've interviewed who
yes,
worked for him.
he did, yes.
But what were the craziest things you saw? And was sexism and bullying quite a big thing in the kitchen?
Well, it was.
Still there now.
It was. Well, I'll tell you what. I was locked. There's somebody I absolutely hated. Well, Lionel. Well, Lionel used to sabotage my caramel every single day. He sabotaged it every single day.
To what end? Why was
so
he doing that?
well, because he thought it was funny.
He's
So I had to do it again.
He's just a prat.
He was just a prat.
Yeah.
So he's French, obviously, but
Yeah.
but I like French people. But he was a French prat.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
They're out there.
Simple as that. Some are, yes, but there's English people that are prats too.
There are.
But he basically he hated me. So do you know what Pierre Koffmann did? He actually locked me in the cupboard with him once. It was so funny. I thought it was hysterical.
What, to have it out?
Well, just to be locked up, get on with each
have
other
to-
and
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
You know, I mean, I've done things like I had a chef once working for me. He was so nice, but he was funny. So we all wrapped him up in cling wrap, and we whipped him with a leek. You know, what else you going to do? And we've had people where we go...
He had it coming. I'm sure
So,
he had
yes,
it coming.
exactly. And then we sort of, that was the other thing. I got some strippers in once because when I was actually leaving Tonkleur, it was actually quite funny. I actually decided to, because they'd been so sexist going on. I think they all thought I was probably a lesbian or something like that because they thought I was really, I thought, well, okay, let them. That's what they want to think, fine. And so they, of course, had all this. So, but because they would go on and on about their macho thing, so I thought I would get some strippers in.
Play them at their own game.
So play them. And they were so embarrassed they didn't know where to put them.
Yeah, of course.
So you got strippers into Le Tonkleur kitchen?
The night I left.
Yeah.
The night I left.
That is brilliant.
Yeah, the night I left.
Yes,
into the kitchen. But it was after when everybody had left.
Yeah.
I've got to make note of that.
That's brilliant.
And all the maitre d' and all the staff were all aware of it. So
That's brilliant.
It was just very
What was your favourite dish on the menu there?
Well, I have to tell you, probably my favourite because, I mean, do you know, it's very difficult to say. I loved his pig strotters. I loved his pig strotters. Gosh, that was difficult getting the skin off the pig strotter. That's fiddly stuff, but I did it. I think we used to time ourselves, so how much you would do.
So you worked all sections?
No, I didn't.
Well,
I just mostly worked. I worked in patisserie and bread. Those are the two sections I really. No, but I did go into helping with that in the sauce things. I was very quite lowly. I was nobody important, but I loved it, and I used to. And he did say to me when I say him, he said, "You always worked really hard, Rosemary." And I said, "I know I did. I worked very hard. I took it very seriously."
But he sort of turned your life around again, didn't he? That second win.
To be quite honest with you, I do say if it wasn't for Chef, actually, Pierre Koffmann, if it wasn't for him, he helped me so much in terms, understood, because in the end, we did chat and he knew about my life. He knew. And he was such a kind man. But he also knew I was never going to take the mickey. I was going to put my whole all. And also, you've got to understand, I loved what I did.
Yeah.
I was totally in love with my work. I loved my cooking. I loved my whole. The only thing I was terrified was service, because I used to get very frightened because I knew that service was very important.
Yeah.
And of course, he did once say to me, 3 minutes before service, do that again. And that was that's what he used to do, but he was a hard taskmaster.
Yeah.
But that was on larder. So basically, he said, do that again. So anyway, it was one of these things that to go through that, and it was sometimes 18 hours a day. It was long haul, and I wasn't that young, although I was young now compared to now. I was young. It was quite a few years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
We reckon we were trying to think how many years ago it was. It was a lot of years. It was before your time. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, it's a long time. So, then that's it.
We were joined by Jockey Petrie from the Fat Duck a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Who said his diners still occasionally cry when they do the sound of the sea dish. I was wondering, have you ever been moved to tears by a dish?
I haven't been moved by a dish, but I've been moved by service. When I was at the Connaught, I was, no, actually, I'll tell a lie. I was once moved by a dish in Scotland at Pitlochry. Nick Nairn had done a lovely chocolate sauce within this thing. So what I used to do was I had no money, and I used to go to B&Bs and then get the best restaurant, Michelin starred or whatever restaurant in the area. That's how I worked it to get my food experience. And I'll never forget, and I asked to speak to him, and I said that was just, and I don't think I've ever tasted a sauce as good as that chocolate sauce. It wasn't chocolate, it was obviously a jus, but it was just the right balance.
But in a savoury
It was a
setting,
pigeon. It was a savoury setting with pigeon, and it was delicious. Anyway, so that was that. And the other bit, no, I have to tell you one other one was an experience when I was at the Mouton de Mougins in Mougins.
Yeah.
I was with Roger Verger and
Zena the Sun, legend.
he was actually there that day.
Wow.
And I had the most unbelievable garlic mousse, and it was just out of this world. And it's always about the accompaniments. It's not about the protein. The protein can taste good and it's well cooked, but then it's what you put with it, which are the things that make or break. And so this mousse, and I said, look, can I meet chef? So they said, because I was working at Tontclair at the time, they said yes. So I went into the kitchen, and he introduced me to the head chef, exec chef, and Roger Verger. It was such an honor. And I said, can I have the recipe of this garlic mousse?
Yeah.
And they said, yeah, of course. Well, 22 kilos of garlic later, and you name it.
Yeah.
It took 3 days to make.
Wow.
Well, I have to tell you, I did bring it down, but it was not the same.
No.
Okay.
So that was it. But, you know, I met Roger Verger, which was an honor.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, that was an experience in itself. And so when I say the accompaniments is so important, the sauce can make or break, the accompaniment can make or break, whatever is with it. Because, you know, they're only, you see, there's so many ways of cooking, braising, braising, frying,
it's how you elevate.
boiling, steaming. It's what you do with it and how you do it.
And what about when you were brought to tears by the service at the Connaught?
Oh, yes, I was going to tell you about one thing. Brought to tears with the service?
Yeah.
What service?
At the Connaught.
Oh, no, I was going to tell you service.
sorry.
Yes, sorry, yes. The service.
Yeah.
So I wasn't bored, no.
No, sorry, brought to tears. Sorry.
I was brought to tears.
Yeah.
So what happened was, when you actually, I'd never been to a restaurant where, I mean, we did a little bit at Tontclair, where you're not allowed to make a sound.
Oh, wow.
And not a sound in the kitchen,
Yeah.
except for the chef, i.e. Monsieur Boudin at the time, was there at the pass, whatever. And it was like when you have, for instance, you would have a dish and you would execute the dish and you would bring 5 elements to it.
Yeah.
It would come from different parts of the kitchen.
Right, yeah.
Must be, I don't know, 30 chefs. I don't know how many chefs were there. There were a lot. Anyway, I think I was on larder at the time. I was only there for hardly any time at all, a few weeks. But it was like a ballet. And after I literally was in tears. It was so beautiful that I went to Monsieur Boudin, and I have to tell you, he said, sit down. I sat in the office, and I said, I am so moved by your service, because that was the very first time I'd ever seen a service done in a big hotel.
Yeah.
So, because I'd always been to small places.
Yeah.
So done with, 9 chefs or whatever, not a whole host of chefs all over the place. It was an incredible experience. And I cried. And he said to me, I understand where you're coming from. He was so nice. And he got it. He just completely got it. And I got a photograph with him at that moment, because I thought, I've got to have a photograph with you. Because that was it. It was emotional.
You then went up to the Isle of Harris.
Yeah.
6 years where you sort of just had incredible success.
What's the name of the castle?
It was Arven.
I tried to read it, but
okay.
it's terrifying.
It was.
Can you say the name?
Yes, Arven Sui.
Okay, right.
Arven Sui. Arven is sitting by the water. Arven and Chop Suey. If you think of Sui,
Yeah.
Chop Suey.
Don't think you'd ever get that from the way it's spelled.
No, it's sitting by the sort of.
And that's what it means?
Yes, Arven Sui.
Oh,
yes.
brilliant.
And so it's Gaelic, obviously.
Yeah.
And when I went to Arven Sui, it was the first experience I'd ever had where I had my own creels. for my lobsters. I used to get sea urchins from the sea. I used to say I had 2 divers, and because they always used to be one on a boat, and obviously diving the other one and taking it. So I used to get all the razorfish, whatever they found on the seabed, like dog whelks, your big whelks, like as I said, razorfish, all the usual things, lobsters. I mean,
and they come straight to you.
Pig scallops, they came straight to me. So I used to have baskets and baskets of this stuff, whatever they found. And I also used to get squatties. You know squatties?
No, what's a squatty?
It's like a little crayfish.
Okay.
And they don't last long after the water, but they are out of this world.
Yeah.
Their flavour's almost in between a crayfish, a crab, and a lobster.
Wow.
And it's unbelievable. So basically, the squatties and squat lobsters. Really.
So you had the best produce in the
So
world.
I had the best produce in the world that I learned. And I also had the fishermen used to ring me up and used to tell me what they've got on the boat. So where they've got big turbot, or I've had a halibut, which must be longer than the table. I mean, why?
Wow, so a couple of meters long. Almost.
Oh yeah, it was very long. I mean, it took me quite a long time to do hours. So basically, they would say, we've just done this, ordered this, so will you have it? And I said, of course I'll have it.
Yeah.
You know, because everything had to be in the Hebrides. When I was working there, I had to forget everything I learnt about food in terms of buying food, because what you do in a restaurant, you'd order it the night before and it'd all come, then it'd be left and you do it. But in the Hebrides, you had to be 10 days ahead. So what I used to do, because it could have been bad weather, so what I used to actually get, and then I froze it. But it was all really fresh, but I froze it straight away. And it was delicious. So I used to have big king scallops, and I used to use everything. We used to get buckets of scallops, sacks of scallops, you know, I mean, you name it, I had it.
Oh, it's a cook's dream up there.
Yeah, but also, not only that, I had venison. I had all my own venison that we used to butcher there. So I used to have all the saddles. I used to get the rump as well, but I also used to get the liver for breakfast.
Yeah.
So basically, we used to have everything. There were lots. So I was privy to a lot of wonderful food. And when the caterer came up and did an article, they couldn't believe all this wonderful
Everything
stuff
that
I
you're
had
bound to.
outside my door.
What do you do with venison liver at breakfast?
Oh, just fry it.
Fry it.
Fry it like ordinary
Bit of
liver.
flour and butter? Like,
Flour, lemon, a little bit of that. Yeah, delicious.
Gorgeous.
Butter, lemon. Now, the other thing also we had up there was some lamb, but we didn't have lamb, we ate mutton, because they always did it at 1 year.
Which is what? So that's over a year old?
It was over a year old. So because I think mutton, for me, was a little bit tastier.
Yeah.
And it just had more beefy to it. You know, it was more sort of depth to it.
But it's good up there as well.
So we had masses of lamb. We had everything we wanted. We didn't butcher the lamb ourselves, but we did. But we had as much as we want.
Yeah.
You know.
It's also where you started your TV show, Castle Cook.
That's right.
How you discovered? How did the producers?
Well, I'll tell you what I did. I
Turn you
came
into star.
down. I'll tell you how it was. I was asked to go down for the Generation Game, so I did that. And then I was...
You say that like that's a normal request.
Yeah, well, I just sort of took it. But the only thing is, if you wanted to get off the island in those days, you couldn't get off very easily.
No, right.
So you had to get off and go, you know, and take 3 days away to get there. And then I was invited to the BBC Two, be the food and drink show, Gilly Gordon and Wazza. And so basically I did Warren Thompson, that is. And sorry, I didn't know.
I like Wazza. It's
You
very
knew
nice.
what Wazza does.
Was that his prison name when he got put away?
I don't know, maybe it was.
For shoplifting.
No, we all used to call him Wazza.
Yeah.
So basically, so I did all that. So I was the troubleshooting chef on this particular program. So I used to go around. So I remember going around and feeding 112 local people in a village in the north of England. So I went there, and one of the people in the houses was drunk as a skunk. It was just very funny. I find things funny, you see.
Yeah.
And then there was another one. I don't know. They all. It's just every house was different. It was very funny.
Yeah.
And we did that, and it was great fun. The next thing is I got a phone call saying, Basil Productions, will you please come down and for an interview? I was so nervous. When I met Peter and his Tim and his son, I was like this. They'd never met anybody so nervous in all their lives. I think they made a mistake that actually I was there because they thought, what are we going to do a program with this person?
Yeah.
They wanted to do a series on BBC Two or something, which would have been amazing. Anyway, I did that. In the same week, I was invited to go to Longacre, in Soho.
Yeah.
And meet Michael. Michael.
Mike.
From Channel 5.
Yeah.
And Michael Atwell.
Yeah.
Channel 5. And he basically, they just started Channel 5 and they needed an evening program at 8 o'clock. So they said to me, and I said, look, I must say, I've already been invited to go to do a program for Basil Productions. But he said, Rosemary, I'm going to tell you something. We would like you to do this. We will give you your own program, prime time. We will let you choose the production company. We will then, you can have anything, you can design the program how you want it.
Wow.
And you can then, do whatever you want. He then goes out and he obviously writes a check. So he said, this is for signing, this is for not signing with Basil Productions. Now, it was quite a big figure.
Jesus.
Crikey.
So I actually, at that point, I thought, well, I needed the money,
Yeah,
desperately. But then I think it's the biggest mistake in my life, actually, because I did all these programs, Castle Cook, Rosemary, Queen of the Kitchen,
Yeah.
Rosemary, this or this sort of thing, Rosemary on the Road. But nobody knew who I was. Nobody saw me because nobody had Channel 5.
It was like,
So
right,
I
you were
always-
too early on Channel
I
5.
was too early.
Yeah.
So I always used to say, I'm the best kept secret.
Yeah. Well, come on.
I'm the best kept secret. So I never did anything. So I used to do all these odd shows. That's how I got that.
Hey,
So-
amazing, though.
My favourite TV show of you was probably Real Marigold.
I love, but because you got to know me.
Loved it. Yeah,
You got to know me.
And the others, and I loved your relationship with Wayne Sleep. He seems like a crazy but lovely man.
Crazy.
And Miriam, crazy as well.
Crazy. She's a
Yeah.
good friend.
Yeah.
I've stayed friends with them all.
Really?
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
What was it
because
like then going out to it? I mean, because quite a risky place to go to eat sometimes. People can fall unwell on street
Do you
food.
know-
But you said it's your favourite place to go in the world, right?
I love it. It was my favourite. I wouldn't live there,
No.
but I would visit there. I absolutely loved the people there. I loved how the whole people were. I'm fine, thank
Are
you.
you sure?
Yeah, he's
Very
offering
much.
some more tea. I can't believe this.
Yes, please.
I'm actually, for me, I think it's the most fabulous, decorative, but also when people they have no money over there, they're in the street, but they're so happy.
Yeah.
And I love that because we're so westernized. We've got so many things in our life. We are all governed by what we have. It's all about content in life, and they are the quintessential classic people. Actually, enjoy life, enjoy family, respect their elders,
Do you like the food?
and I love the food. I had some of the best food I've ever eaten over there.
Really?
Seriously. And wherever you went, whether it's the sort of in a simple family or whether it was the Maharajas, they were all the same. The food was all the same. It was delicious.
As in, yeah, very good.
Yeah, all
Beautiful
very
standard
good.
cooking,
Even the street food, really good. I mean, seriously, it was a real eye opener. But I went to Mexico.
Yeah.
I went
Florida?
to China, Florida, Miami that was the famous one with Miriam.
What happened
And
there?
she got hold of a Democrat and
Yeah.
tore him to pieces, yes. And he was so horrible to her. And, and so on and so forth. And it was just, I think we were kicked out in the end.
There was one person you didn't get on well with.
Who was that?
Well,
Oh, I'm not telling you.
oh, go on.
No, I'm not telling you.
On the.
Yes, there was.
Yeah.
Can we get?
There was
give,
one
give me the
person-
names from the
No,
series.
no, I'm not going to go there because
Why not?
she was very rude to me.
She was very rude, yeah.
Very, very rude. And I tried so hard. And I'm not saying the name, but we called her News at 10.
No, but we won't be talking. Yeah, we won't be talking to her again.
No, exactly. So basically, she was not a kind person, and in fact, spent the whole evening. The final straw was I spent the whole time trying to coax her and trying to look after her and make sure she was all right. And I said, "Would you?" Because she told us all about her family and things. And when I wanted on our way back, I said, "Would you like to come see pictures of my family?" She said, "No, I don't. I'm not
Absolutely not.
interested." And it was.
No, it's terrible. Rosemary, I must say, like, we'll touch on I'm a Celeb in a second, but you became such a huge superstar, so successful, but you'd had to leave your husband behind.
Yes.
Was that
We never got back again.
no? Was
Yeah.
that
Oh, really?
No.
the
never.
toughest part of it all?
He was always my best friend.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what was really difficult, and that is a tough question for me because he never recovered and I went on and on. And
Yeah,
it was
sure.
very, very difficult for him because I totally focused. So I gave up any pleasures in life. I gave up any weddings, anything.
You were all in.
I was all into my
It was
work.
like, no, that was it. Yeah.
And that was it. So that was the only way I could do anything in my life. And to be honest with you, I can't believe I'm talking about this, but he was my best friend.
Yeah.
He was always there for me, and he was such a kind man. I mean, he was always one of the kindest people I've ever met. But I knew if we were together, he would just pull me down because he'd lost the impetus in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I was trying to do what I was doing, and I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest, but I knew that I would always be honest to myself and true, because my main criteria was actually the family. So if I wasn't looking after myself, and I don't see this as a selfish business, if I wasn't looking at myself, I felt I can't look after my family,
Yeah.
the children. And I didn't have an easy time with the kids because they felt I needed to be with my husband. But of course, so I fell out with them
Yeah.
a little bit. Not fall out,
No.
but it was difficult.
Difficult period.
But it's difficult for them to understand, and I
course.
totally got that. But now they do
They
understand.
must be hugely proud of
Totally.
what you've done.
I
yeah.
think they are. Yes,
Yeah,
I
they
think
must
they're
be.
proud. But they didn't find it easy. They had a hard time themselves. So I do find it difficult
Yeah.
because I know how tough it was for them.
Yeah.
And I think probably my daughter had it worse than others, my son, you know.
Yeah.
But they, you know, they're lovely children, and I'm really grateful. And I have children who like to party with me, and
Oh, lovely.
you know.
And your
it's great.
granddaughter's the name of one of your characters in your
Oh
book.
yes, Suki.
Suki.
Yeah, I had
Lovely
to ask.
name.
I had to ask permission to.
Really?
have
Did you?
it, Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Good name, Suki.
It's a
Great
good name. I
name.
love the name Suki,
Yeah.
and my grandson is called Tom, and he's at Oxford,
Oh,
and loving. Yeah, it's clever.
lovely.
Oh,
Clever.
wow.
Hopefully, not Brooks.
No, not Brooks. No, not
Cheeky
You're
monkey.
also a star.
yeah,
in-
cheeky monkey.
He is, yeah.
You were a star in I'm a Celeb. What was
Yes.
it like getting a massage from David Hay? Those big
Oh,
hands
it was
look great.
wonderful. Those big hands. I
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
you, what
look
more do
amazing.
you want in life?
I know. I was jealous.
I've never forgotten it. No,
Yeah,
never
that was quite
forgotten it.
incredible. Was that a good experience, though? Because you came in late and then
wonderful.
flourished.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I couldn't believe that I got through to as far as I got. But the thing was, I knew I was going to go that day because I was cross with Hugo. But I'd had such a great day. I deserved not to be voted for. And you know, my daughter was there. I won the door.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
won the thing. I had the bath.
Yeah.
Hugo was stuck up in the pole, loving every minute of it, saying, "Come on, wash your hands," and blah, blah, trying to get the numbers down. And then I was, and then of course he had no one, and it was all right. So I knew I was going. Actually, so much so, I went to the hub and I said, "I'm going to go tomorrow because people will not think I deserve a vote today," which I totally got.
Yeah.
And I believe, but I wish they had voted me because I literally, they said I lost it by a whisker
Really?
from Eric Bristow. I lost it like a whisker.
Eric.
Eric won,
That
and he
bastard.
said he was going to beat me, and he did.
And he did. Wow.
Oh, I know,
Apparently,
but
you
he's
apparently
passed
you get
away now.
voted off. You get to go to a lovely 5-star hotel for a week.
Yeah. Well, no, you don't for a week because there wasn't many times
Oh,
we were
yeah.
going
you
home.
Yeah, you.
Oh,
actually,
you should
had
have
the
gone
worst of
earlier.
Both worlds.
Yes, I had the
You should've
worst.
gone
Yes,
early.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's the Versace. But my daughter and the twins came out.
Nice.
But yeah, it was lovely. But it was a mistake 'cause they were too young. I thought it was going to be a
Long way
nice
to go.
holiday, but it wasn't.
It's a long way to go, yeah.
Any TV nightmares?
There's always TV nightmares. There's always TV nightmares. My gosh. Let me think of a good one. Mary Berry beating me with her cake.
Not physically.
What?
No, that sounds. There's always TV. I tell you what, one of my worst TV boo-boos, and they can't find it, and I wish they could, was one of the very first time I started doing Granada Lifetime.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting paid for this program or anything. And I remember I was doing a roulade, roll-up roulade, you know, the meringue roulade, that is. And I couldn't, when I did this, and I had two young children, would-be chefs, wanted to be chefs. So one was sticking strawberries into chocolate, another one was whisking coulis or something, I don't know. So anyway, I did the roulade, did all this, and I was trying to do the meringue, but they gave me with this hand thing. The things you kept on coming back, but I wasn't used to it. That was the one time I thought I've always got to check, things. Anyway, the whisk.
They kept popping out.
Anyway, it kept popping out. So I was, no, it was my fault because I didn't sort of test it to begin with.
Well.
Anyway, so it was totally my fault. Anyway, so what happened was they then gave me the whisk that the boys had in the in the coulis. And of course, they was never going to be whisked up. The meringue was never going to be whisked up in all a million years. So in the end, I had to never mind. I said, look, let's pretend it's done. Let's pretend we've done all this. So I get the meringue out of the oven, so-called meringue, bring it out, turn it out. I can't turn it out. It's stuck to the sides. I tried to take it out, couldn't do it. So I smashed it to smithereens onto some greaseproof paper. Whole thing smashed. And of course, the cream, they couldn't whip the cream for some reason. So I had no cream. I said, look, never mind. Let's just pretend we got cream with this meringue. Yeah. And we did all the thing up. And of course, it was nothing. So I said, well, that's how you roll it up. In the end, I had to say to camera, I really can cook. And then they had been accused of being too slick on the program. This one was totally out to lunch. It was totally off the wall. So I said, I'm never doing TV again. That's me done. Full stop. That's it. Got the train home. And next thing I know, I'm getting phone calls saying, please come back, because we loved it. We absolutely loved it, because it was a complete nightmare.
You should be yourself, right?
Well,
be authentic.
I laughed.
Yeah.
I laughed. I think I fell on the floor at one point. It was so funny. It was ridiculous.
Have you ever got stung financially in the industry?
You say that, of course you are. You're stung a little bit to do things for them. They don't want to bother to pay you. Yes, of course you have.
But not any bad ones.
Not really. No, not bad.
Have you turned down any? I mean, you've been everything from sort of chef to mentor to headmistress to like everything. Have you ever turned down? Is anything ever too crazy for Miss Shrager?
Okay. I almost turned down, but I didn't. I should have done. Some Israeli so-called cooks who wanted to were doing a program in Israel, and they asked me. I didn't want to do it. It was bonkers. Yeah. I mean, bonkers. Yeah. So much so, in the end, I think I left.
Yeah.
But you went out. You went.
No, I didn't go out. They came. They brought everybody over here, and it was ridiculous. They wanted me to teach them doing something, and the whole thing.
In English or not?
It was in English. It wasn't in Hebrew.
How is your Hebrew?
It wasn't in Hebrew.
How is your Hebrew?
No. It wasn't in Hebrew. So that's it. So really, that was a disaster. I mean, I've been asked to do. I did an American etiquette thing, which was ghastly as well. But never mind. And then I think probably working for Trump was not an exciting thing.
Working for Trump?
Well, we did. He sort of financed a program called The Girls of Hedsel Hall by MTV.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and so, I mean, that was really a little bit...
was he on set?
No, he wasn't, but he was. I did go to New York.
Yeah. What, to meet him?
Oh, yeah.
What's the blancmange like in real life?
He was horrible. I went to his office and I said to him,
You're not for me, Donald.
No, you're so rude.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, he was shocked. Yes, I was. He was so rude. I mean, seriously rude. Anyway, I don't want to go on about that because that's not.
He was
not. He may have you assassinated.
He was not he was not very nice.
No.
He wasn't nice. That's all I can say.
Yeah, well, and that's played out, hasn't it?
He's not nice.
Can we cheer up the mood by going through your go-to foods?
Yes, we need to cheer up. Come on, this is not depressing. I've had a wonderful... No, stop. I've had a wonderful career.
You have. You've been incredible.
I've had a wonderful...
You're a legend. And it's still going strong.
Yes, it is. I
Unbelievable.
can't believe it.
74?
Yes.
That's unbelievable.
Yes.
You look incredible.
Now, hang on. How old do I look? Come on.
59.
Yeah.
All right.
Max.
Oh, I think you're being really generous.
I'm not. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
No.
Tops as well, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I love it. Do you know what? I am
with the biking, you're not even drinking anymore. I mean, you're looking like 40.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You're aging backwards.
I'm
you're
going
like Benjamin
backwards.
Button.
Yeah. Actually, I'm 39 in a few months.
Let's start off with the dish you cook the most midweek.
Oh, midweek?
Sort of your easy meal, you go to.
Oh, God. Do you really want to know? It's poached eggs on toast.
Is it?
I love fresh eggs and poached egg on toast.
Just very quickly for our listeners who are on the train going to work, what's your technique for poached eggs?
Right, I'll tell you the technique. The technique is Yeah, have one of those.
Yeah,
The technique is you do a frying pan full of water, not a saucepan, a frying pan.
Yep.
What you do is you actually, hang on, let me start again. A frying pan full of water, you do it with water, you bring it to the soft simmer,
Right.
not boiling.
Barely a
ever.
bubble.
Just a bubble, just a few bubbles. And then you put your eggs in there. And as soon as your eggs come to, I would say, start the albumin setting a little bit, okay, that's the white part.
The white bit, yeah.
And you then take a fish slice or whatever, you go underneath a little bit, loosen it off, and you'll never have to do that again. And you just take up with a spoon, make sure you cover the top, and that'll make a perfect poached egg.
Beautiful.
Now, obviously, that's to look at the egg on toast. Now, obviously, if you're going to do an egg that you want covered with a little bit of vinegar, I don't normally use vinegar, but I do on this, you make a vortex in your saucepan, and then you put your egg in, you stir it all around, push it in there, and then the albumin, albumin will wrap around the yolk, and that's how you do that.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Right. Well, thank you.
That's all right. Any other tips you want me to give you?
No, but I do want you to tell me your favourite ingredient to use and your most overused or the ingredient you're slightly sick of.
Oh, that's really good. Okay, my favorite ingredient, I think, has to be. You see, I'm a salt person.
That's absolutely fine.
I love bringing the flavour out of things. I love salt.
Yeah.
I don't like too much, but I do love.
Right
Oh,
amount.
you see?
I know.
Yeah, you've oversalted
Yeah,
it.
but come
I
on.
like the
We've moved on
flavour
from the
to
scone.
come out. So salt. Can I have salt and pepper? But I'm
Yeah,
not
of
a
course.
pepper. People don't realise pepper is a spice, and you should be very careful how you use
Really?
pepper.
I think
Yeah.
I'm over peppering them.
Yes,
No,
you are.
Salt
Am
and
I?
sugar,
You do not
flavour enhancers,
Pepper.
pepper and everything else.
Spice.
Spices.
I like
spices.
Yeah.
You treat it
So
like you're
I'm-
you treat it like you're treating cinnamon, nutmeg.
Yeah.
You treat it in exactly the same way.
So I've got to hold back on the pepper and use the salt more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
just-
yes.
As default.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely right. Well said. And in fact, the what you do, the salt is just the seasoning, full stop. That's it, or sugar to bring the flavour out, to enhance the flavour.
I've been getting it wrong.
You do not, and unless you want it peppery,
Yeah,
use pepper.
Yeah.
I'm over peppering.
You're over peppering. Right, next thing.
Sometimes you might be
So
under
I would
peppering.
say
Sorry, Rosemary.
a lovely chicken and potato pie.
Ugh.
That's your most.
I love chicken and potato pie.
Oh.
My chicken and potato pie it's actually in my first book, The Castle
You made it
Cook.
last week for Pie Week, didn't you?
No,
No.
that was quail. That was
Oh, you made
Petithier.
it quite sorry.
Yes,
Sorry.
this
Quail
is
and
a
wild
pie.
garlic.
Okay, how I designed this pie, I have to tell you.
Yeah, please.
This pie, my children, they want it every birthday, every
Okay,
time.
really?
That's it. They make it all the time. We even have the Shrager Cup for real tennis where they have the pie.
Really?
Yeah, really, really. So what it is, because I had lived in Cornwall,
Yeah.
right, think of pasties.
Yeah.
Now think of picnics.
Yeah.
I thought, right, think of the dish with the potatoes layered, cooked in, not in milk, but in actually, not in cream, in stock, but not the
not boulanger.
No, not boulanger, not boulanger. This is covered in pastry and underneath as well. And it's only about
wow.
thick, a specific French little dish. Anyway, it's delicious.
Yeah.
But, so I took that and I took sliced chicken.
Yeah.
So I cook the sliced chicken, little
Yeah.
bit, not till it's done. Then I do the potatoes sliced, and then I add them to the chicken. And so, well, they're quite well cooked, and but not quite because they've got to cook again. Put lots of salt in,
Yeah.
not pepper, salt. Lots of tarragon,
Yeah. Beautiful.
okay?
Yeah.
Real tarragon, so it's tarragon chicken
Beautiful,
potato
yeah.
pie. And then what I do is I roll out some puff pastry.
Yeah.
I bought or butter puff pastry or whatever.
There you do, yeah.
Roll out, and it's about a good foot and a bit, about 14 inches, well, a little bit, 14
Yeah.
inches. So basically, then get your cold mixture, really do it with your hands, with all the deliciousness, and get it. It's got to be slightly oversalted, because in a minute I'll tell you what you do. And then you put the pile on top.
Yeah.
There's your dish. Put a pile on top of it. And then you take another piece of pastry, egg it all over, and then crimp it all round with the, and then you egg it again.
Yeah.
Make a little, about a 5 centimeter ring at the top. Okay. So pop it in the oven for an hour. And you put a nice bit of decoration on the top. So it's a really big, so because it's puff pastry, it comes out that big.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you bring it out, you take the top off, you get your boiled double cream, seasoned boiled double cream,
Yes.
and then you push it in, pour it into your pie, put it back for 5 minutes, and that's your chicken and potato pie.
Ben, can we make that next
Yeah,
week?
well, we'll have that on the show next week.
Yeah. That's,
Seriously?
yeah.
I think so. Yeah, maybe for Giles Corran.
Yeah. I think he'd
Oh,
appreciate that.
yeah,
not?
that was, yes, he'd love it.
He'd love it.
He'd love it, Giles Corran.
That'll
Yes.
slow him down,
He
yeah.
would love it.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
sounds
I've done a program
absolutely
with him.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
What about your go-to random fridge snack combination? You're sort of up maybe late at night or mid-afternoon. You open the fridge and you put a couple of weird things together.
Peanut butter.
Yeah.
Peanut butter every time.
Just with
And do you know what I know on toast? But do you know what I do?
what do you do?
Apple toast. But what I do is I go to our local shop
Yeah.
and they have peanut butter, processed, fresh peanuts.
Yeah.
You don't get in a jar, fresh peanuts, and you put it on toast. There's no oil in it. There's nothing. You just have this lovely pureed peanut butter. You can do it yourself, actually.
Yeah.
Just get some peanuts.
What, and then some apple as well.
And yes, get some apple.
Yeah.
Just peanuts and put them in a processor.
Blitz them up.
Blitz it all up. Oh,
Can't beat it.
it's to die
We
for.
should make our own nut butter, shouldn't we?
Yes, you
Quite
should.
simple, really.
It's incredibly simple. Incredibly
Quite
simple.
good for you.
And
Maybe
really good for you.
Yeah.
Really good
Yeah.
and delicious.
Maybe next week for Giles we can give an aperitif of peanut butter.
Yeah,
peanut
yeah.
butter.
One apple and then.
Oh,
the
that
pie.
would be. Oh, he'd love that.
He would love that.
He would
Let's do that.
love it. Yes. I love the way you've done scones for me.
Yeah, they're brilliant. Slightly oversalted, but brilliant.
Stop it. Are we going to get any of Rosemary's locations?
Yeah, but should we get the guilty pleasure first?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm skipping
That's
ahead.
Go on. What are you doing?
Do you have a guilty pleasure? Well, it's probably the wrong way to phrase it, but
Yes,
a
I love
little
my
tri-
crisps.
yeah, really.
Yeah, I love crisps. Why not? I love. Oh, Twiglets. I hate Marmite, but love Twiglets.
Really?
Is that right?
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's weird.
That is weird.
And I won't even. I hate Marmite also in. Oh my gosh! They came up with a revolting combination. I shouldn't say this with peanut butter and Marmite together.
Oh, I
Selling-
saw that. You could buy it.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Ugh.
It's really.
Steer
not-
clear of that game.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Stay clear of that.
No.
It's not nice because but you can still taste you can still taste the Marmite in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's go to your locations. What's your go-to weeknight restaurant?
I love a restaurant called Kumquat in and which is in the Pantiles in Tunbridge Wells.
Yeah.
I love it. It's Asian food. It's really nice. So if you want something really interesting, that's the one to go. And also, I do love Atol's essence
Yeah.
too. That's
Atoll
fun.
as in Mr. Atoll Culture.
At Kocha.
Yeah.
He's lovely. He's a friend, and
Yeah.
he opened it in Panda, and he's so good. What I love about his food is it's just incredibly tasty.
Yeah.
But also, it's all fresh. It's not. It's made.
Yeah.
It's fresh, and it's delicious. And he's just genius.
He knows what he's doing.
and he's doing really well. So those are my two. Probably,
Those are lovely choices.
Which are great choices. Yeah, I think they're good.
And what
choices.
about for a celebratory supper? Big blowout.
Well, do you know what? I would choose, and I'm not, well, I would choose, I love Elliott's. I'm afraid
Yeah.
I do love their steaks and I
Yeah.
love their
They're
things.
good.
I mean,
You need to take a mortgage out.
yes,
They're good.
So
you
the-
have to take a mortgage out.
Yeah.
Elliot is at the cut.
The cut.
at 45
It's called
Park
The
Lane.
Cut.
Yeah.
It's called
45
The
Park
Cut.
Lane, yeah.
45 Park Lane. And it's called The Cut. And I must say, I had the Japanese meal there.
Yeah.
Oh, it was delicious.
Really?
It's what they do is it's really interesting, and that's really celebratory. It's really expensive. It's £400
Christ.
a head, but that includes the booze as well.
Okay, right.
But and you're having. I'd never had sake champagne. Yeah, sake champagne, and you had the most incredible wine, sake sweet wine. And all this.
Wow.
I mean,
Oh.
genuinely gorgeous
Well,
stuff.
I hope Elliot looked after you.
Oh yes, of course
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yes, but the thing is with this is that there was all the different cuts of the tuna, which I really found interesting from a chef's point of view or a cook's point of view. It's a really interesting thing.
So the
to see.
differences between each
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
the taste
and how
the
they do it,
fattiness
and the taste
yeah.
and
Wow.
fattiness, exactly.
Yeah,
as
wow.
well. I love all that, because what I like to do when I go out is I love to learn. I mean, the thing about the Cut is it's one of the best steaks in London.
Yeah.
Well, it's Wolfgang Puck.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
It's- So you're
Pucky boy.
Yeah, Pucky boy. He's the best.
How dare you?
He's the best. No, he's a genius.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He is a genius.
He
So
is.
being
Good
at
old
the
Puck.
Dorchester, he's great. And I do think there's some really interested. I mean, funnily enough, when I went to Mark Kempson, the Michelin starred
Yeah.
in the other day in Knightsbridge. I think Kitchen W8, he does a really good,
He
quintessentially British food.
Yeah.
He does.
Now, I think that's very good. But, you know,
Is that your hidden gem?
I
you have a
think
hidden gem?
I think that is a bit of a hidden gem,
Yeah, yeah.
actually. Yes, I think that is a hidden gem
Yeah, yeah.
because it's not something you'd know about.
No.
Many people know, but just the local people would
Yeah,
know
yeah.
about. So yes, I think
Well,
it is a hidden gem.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, got it.
Are you someone who goes to the pub? Do you have a favourite pub, or is that not for
No,
you?
I'm not a pub person.
That's
no.
all right. Me
I would
neither.
go. I would go to the pub on a Sunday, having a drink. I
Yeah.
used to be a pub person when I was young, with all my friends.
Well, you're not drinking anymore, are you?
Yo, no, don't drink. No, I'm so boring. I'm really boring.
What about your dream long weekend getaway? Where are you going for a lovely weekend, foodie-wise?
Sweet and drink, yeah.
Oh, now that's interesting.
You love France, don't you? Is that what you're
I
saying?
love. I'll tell you, rather than do that, which I've done, but I'm going to tell you where I want to go, where San Sebastian, which I've never been to.
You
I would like to go there. That is my dream weekend
Right.
to go there.
Well, we'll take you out there. We should do it.
Oh
Go
my!
for a go-to weekend away.
With Oshin.
Yeah.
He can do it with our tour.
Yeah,
guide.
And can we go? Can we go to each bar
Yes.
and go from each one to
But
one?
you'll have to start drinking again.
Yes,
otherwise-
I'll drink.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh no! You
Yeah,
can do
yeah.
it when you drink.
Okay, well, let's do that. Maybe.
Right, that's a promise.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Bring Elliot along.
Yeah, Elliot would love
Yeah,
it.
he would love. He hasn't been either.
Has he not?
No.
He said that,
No,
didn't
I
he?
don't
He
think
said he
he's
hadn't
been.
been
No,
there.
he,
Oh,
what,
come
did he
on.
say that
Yeah.
too?
He did, yeah.
Oh
Right,
well,
we'll organise this.
there's
We'll
the
film
trick.
it.
let us go. Let
The
us
Noodle
go.
YouTube series.
Well, why not?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's do that
Right,
on
let's do
YouTube.
that. Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go
yeah.
to
Let's
San
do that.
Sebastian. Let's do 3 days
Yes.
and
So
let's
much fun.
kill the restaurant.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we might kill ourselves.
Yeah, we'll kill, but I don't care.
No, I don't care.
for
What a
3
great
days.
place to die.
No,
Yeah.
no. I'm telling you, I'm going to die on the job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite right too.
Yeah, totally die on the job.
That's the way
If
to
I'm
go.
not dying on the job, I think I'll just.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll
No,
do.
it's the way to go.
I'm not sure. I wasn't ready for that
No,
comment.
you got ahead of yourself.
I did
Yeah.
get ahead of
That
myself
was
then.
wonderful.
Right,
Funny, isn't it?
our final question,
Okay,
if
go
you'll
on.
indulge us.
Oh, okay. I'll indulge.
Your go-to 3-course meal. So the 3 things that you would have, your final meal anywhere in the world.
All right. Anything I want?
You can have whatever you want.
Boiled egg and caviar.
Beautiful.
All right, caviar. But I would like to have at least 200 grams of caviar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
a
right,
real
okay.
tin of caviar.
beautiful. Yeah, you can have the whole tin.
Yeah,
Do
thank
you have little soldiers or not?
I would have soldiers, yes. I'd
Yeah.
have proper toast soldiers.
Yeah.
Crispy,
Yeah.
thinly cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Melba toast.
No.
You can't
No.
get those, but toast.
Yeah.
Proper
Proper
toast.
British toast.
boiled egg.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Soft and the egg's got to be 2 days old as well.
Really?
Is that right?
Yeah, because it's better to have it slightly older than on the day itself.
Well.
Yeah, about at least 24 hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's my first course.
Beautiful.
My second course is venison.
Yeah.
I love venison with my red cabbage,
Yeah.
confit of red cabbage.
Come on, just give us just what makes it your red cabbage. What makes it special?
Well, because I cook it for 2 hours
nice.
on a really, really low heat,
Yeah.
and I put fruit in it,
Yeah.
and I do it with a little balsamic red wine.
Oh.
And I do it with, and I then drain all the liquid off, and then I fold in unsalted butter.
Unbelievable.
good.
Maybe that's the side dish for the pie. Would that go with the pie?
Yeah,
For
that would go
Giles?
with the.
I'm
Yes,
trying
of
to
course it
think.
would. That would go with the pie.
It's a lot of
That
work
would-
for Ben to do.
Yes, I
I'm
would.
up
Do you know what I
I'm
would
up
do?
for it.
I'm
Do you
stitching
know?
you up.
No, I'm up for it.
Can I tell you what I would do?
Yeah.
If it's for Giles,
Yeah.
say we're going to do this pie, but I'll send you the recipe
Oh, please.
tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you'll do this pie,
Mm.
but then you'll serve it with peas because you love peas.
Yeah.
He would love that.
He would.
With fresh mint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
And you could have the peas as a salad.
Yeah.
Put a little vinaigrette, a little garlic,
Oh.
a little pearl onions, a little bit of this, a little bit of that,
Oh, I like the sound of that.
as a salad.
That's
a
not
yeah.
to do down the red
about
cabbage.
a français pea salad.
Yeah.
Okay, done.
Done. I'll send you the recipe.
your
Not
main,
for that. I've just made that up.
your main's venison and red cabbage, and then pudding. What are we going for?
Oh, pudding. It's got to be something rather than fine dining. Oh no. I love mango.
Ooh.
Anything mango. Mango sorbet, mango mousse parfait,
Mango vape.
Well, in fact, do you know what I'm getting? Mango vape.
Yeah.
In fact, you can put a mango vape on the side, and I'll
Yeah,
go
yeah,
for that.
yeah.
You can put everything mango on the plate.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can have 7 different things of mango.
Cheese
Or-
course
Okay,
or
like a
not?
celebration.
No, forget cheese.
Forget cheese.
No, we're having mango.
Sorry. I was just wondering.
Mango. No. I would
Mango.
only anyway. I wouldn't serve cheese in the evening. I would serve cheese at lunch.
Is that the way
Really?
to do it?
Yeah, because they always say with cheese, it's too heavy at night,
Yeah.
and it's somehow Yeah, just
Nightmares.
nightmares, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But I always serve cheese during the day.
Cheese at lunch. There we go. I
Lovely.
can get behind that.
Rosemary Shrager, you have been the most wonderful person we've ever met. Thank you so much for coming into our little studio and sharing your just incredible life story.
Pleasure.
It's
my
been
pleasure.
fantastic to meet you. We're looking forward to putting into the books the San Sebastian Getaway.
Yeah.
We've got to get Grover on board, and we're going. But Rosemary, you've been wonderful. That's sadly we've got time for. If you're watching on YouTube, then please subscribe to the channel and leave us your comments below. It really does help other people find us both on the podcast apps and YouTube. And don't forget to check out the incredible offer from Blink, which I haven't, because we've been
having
speaking
so much fun.
I've completely forgot to do.
Go on.
Why don't we tell the
wonderful
people about Blink?
Blink readout? So I'm going to do that now. Blink is the UK company revolutionising the POS game. Blink are tearing up the rule book. No long-term contracts, no hidden fees, and no per-device charges for just £49 a month for unlimited devices and 24/7 UK-based support that's always there in person when you need it. Jockey Petrie's on board, Sally Clark's on board. Rosemary, if you open a restaurant, I hope you'll be on board.
Yeah, we'll sort
Built
you
for
out.
hospitality, by hospitality. Blink is the fastest, easiest POS system on the market.
Love
It's
it.
so intuitive and anyone can use it. And while others take weeks to get you up and running, with Blink, you're live in just 2 hours. So let's all join the hospitality revolution
Amen.
today. Visit Blink and see why we're a UK success story. And there's a code.
There is. It's go to Blink. I had trouble spelling it last time.
You did.
BLINQ. Go
Go
to
Q.
Blink.
Go
Yeah.
O rather than K.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's why it's hard to spell.
Yes.
And you get a
Okay.
month off.
You do. You get a month free.
We'll promote it
Wow.
in the middle. Rosemary, you've been absolutely wonderful. Thanks so much for coming in. We ask everyone, what song do you want us to play you out with? Anything in the world.
Oh, okay. Anything in the world? I'm going to say trailers for sale or rent, rolls to
Go on,
let
Ben.
50 cents.
Join in.
No pool,
I don't
no
know the words.
phone, no pens.
You do it.
You don't know
I
the words.
ain't got no cigarettes. I'm a 2 hours of pushing broom buys a help a moon.
beautiful.
I'm a moon. Better
Better than Rainer.
Of means, but I no means king of the road. Now every engineer on every train, all of the children and all of the men. Every hands up on every star, but every lock ain't got no one around. We sing trailers for sale.
You've got a beautiful voice. Were you
Got
a
an incredible
voice
voice.
at school?
No, I was flat as a pancake. I was actually sacked from the choir.
Oh, jeez. Rosemary, you've been
Come a
an
long
absolute
way.
charm. Thank you
Come a
so
long
much.
way.
Those are your go-tos. Thank
Oh,
you.
fantastic. Thank you.
Tell me we use that rendition.
Yeah, oh, yeah, 100%.
That was beautiful.
That was absolutely brilliant, Rosemary. Thank you so
Rosemary,
much.
That was
Yeah.
so funny.
I hope that was all right.
Yeah, that was funny.